Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Zycom Data Protection webinar that we're hosting in tandem with Barracuda. My name is Scott Simpson. I'm going to be doing a quick introduction and overview of Zycom Technology. My part shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. At that point, I'm going to be bringing on Chad Haskell from Barracuda, who's going to be going through his data protection presentation. Lastly, Tom Lockhart, the IT Systems Manager for Hastings Prince Edward County's Health Unit, is going to come on and talk about his first-hand experience with Barracuda Backup and Message Archiver. A couple of quick things. All lines have been muted. If you do have a question, please type it into the chat section, or alternatively, you can tweet your questions using the hashtag Zycom. I'll do my best to moderate that and get those asked at the end of the presentation. Also, please follow us on Twitter. We're constantly posting different news articles, events, industry news, etc. So I'm going to get right into my part. Zycom's vision is to become the most trusted integrator of private cloud technology in Canada. And Barracuda plays a big part of this vision. We utilize their technology for on-premise or off-premise cloud-based solutions. They have excellent customer support. There are no phone trees, which is becoming increasingly unique. One number rings directly to a live person who's able to assist you. Barracuda solutions are very easy to purchase, install. They're simple to manage, and they have a proven track record of reliable restorations and retrievals. Based on that vision I just showed you, Zycom focuses on 3 key practice areas. We hire top-notch systems engineers and solution architects to help deliver solutions based on these practice areas. Those, of course, being data center infrastructure, network and security, and lastly, virtualization and cloud. Not only do we work to design and deliver hardware and software solutions, but services as well. Those services are listed here, the first of which being managed services, where we take care of an organization's IT infrastructure, essentially becoming a virtual IT staff. The second is on-site services. We provide IT professionals for a longer term to assist or augment your current IT staff. Professional services, where we work to complete highly defined projects such as a Barracuda installation or configuration. And private cloud infrastructure services, basically to help your organization transform your IT to an on-premise or off-premise cloud-based solution. So I said I'd be quick, and I was. At this point, I'm going to hand over control to Chad Haskell from Barracuda to take you through a data protection presentation. Chad?
Thank you very much, Scott. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through this. Kind of like Scott, I'm going to try to be quick, conscientious of your time, but I do have a couple things that I want to share with you. And so as we look at this, as we look at kind of Barracuda's market today, historically everybody knows us for being a security company, and that's still true. However, if we look at this slide, we see that 37% of our business actually comes from the storage side, and that's through the Barracuda Backup Service as well as the Barracuda Message Archiver. And if we can look at this slide a year ago today, it was only 25%. So it's actually growing. It's growing very fast. As a matter of fact, if we were to separate the backup business out into a business all of its own, not being part of Barracuda Networks, but it would actually be the fastest growing company in Silicon Valley. So that's pretty significant. And some of the trends in the market that are actually leading to that growth are this, the increase in storage, right? Everybody, whether it's structured data, whether it's unstructured data, everybody is seeing a growth in data. And we can even see it in our personal lives. What used to be a shoebox full of pictures or whatever, now is some thumb drive, hard drive, or whatever. We have more data than we ever used to, right? And we start to look at, now we need to retain that data for a certain amount of time, especially if you're a company, you're either concerned with compliance or litigation or whatever drives you to retain the data that you retain. You start to look around, and especially as system administrators. I've actually been a system administrator in a former life, and you go to your users and you ask your users, well, how long do we need to keep this for? And they look at you like, forever. If we got to keep this data, we got to keep it forever. And So, as sysadmins, we start to look at more efficient ways to do that, things that do, single instance storage or deduplication or whatever the case may be. It's just something that we can go in there and we can actually try to get our arms around this increasing data size. And so if we look at backup, so historically, and I know that a lot of you guys are muted, otherwise I would ask for your input here. But if you look at historically, the different players in the space, oftentimes maybe our backup software would come from something like Symantec. Maybe you have back up your physical machines, and then maybe you use something like Veeam's back up your virtual machines, and then maybe you use Data Domain or something like that to do your dedupe, and then your local storage maybe is provided Quantum or HP or who knows, right? But then someone like Iron Mountain is going to come and whisk your media away with some decommissioned missile silo somewhere. But it's the idea that you have, historically you've had this incredibly fragmented solution, right, where we call it a Franken solution or a Frankenstein, cobbled together out of parts and pieces. And so the problem is that you have all of these products, but you don't have an actual solution. So there's no centralized management. You're having to manage different vendors, you're having to manage different technologies. And so that's where the Barracuda backup solution comes in. And look, when we call it a Barracuda backup solution, it's not just a Barracuda backup server, it's not just a Barracuda backup agent, it's not just a Barracuda backup cloud, it's all of these things. It's an actual end-to-end solution that includes the software as well as the storage. We take this wonderful and amazing incremental approach to backing up your data. So what's really cool about it is we go in, we back up your data, we back it up, all of it, first time, right? But then the second time that we go back to back up, and once again, this is the second time, this isn't the third time or fifth time or tenth time. This is literally the second time that the backup runs, we actually go through it and we intelligently find what actually needs to be backed up. So instead of like your other, software out there that, build a backup selection list and then start backing up, hours later or whatever, we're actually intelligently tracking those changes. So as you're creating files, as you're changing files, the file system is aware of this, and so we get that information out of the file system so that way we can go back and we can go, hey, what's new, what's changed, and now our backup window is very, very small. Plus we do inline block level dedupe, so not only do we do the dedupe at the source side, but we're deduping it when it goes to the Barracuda backup client, and then we're deduping it again when it goes to another backup client or to the cloud. We also have the ability to protect physical machines as well as virtual machines. So once again, no agents, no options, there's no Active Directory agents, SQL agents, Exchange agents, Windows agents, Linux agents. It's all included. Like Kratos spaghetti sauce, it's in there. You purchase this box, everything you need is there. Not to mention we have the cloud storage, and then above all, we have the centralized management. So you can have you can have an office in Toronto, in Kingston, in Ottawa, in Vancouver, 4 geographically disparate locations, and you could administer them all from, Houston or wherever you may happen to be, right? This is talking to you about kind of the always incremental backup approach, and I can't stress this enough how awesome it is, the fact that we're able to intelligently track those changes, so that way when we go to backup, to do a broadcast, all the agents respond, hey, here's the 24 files that are changed, here's the 12 files that are new and done, right? So drastically decreasing my backup window. And then when you bring in the inline block level dedupe, it requires far less storage, files on disk, to actually house all of those recovery points. So that's just amazing. The other thing is like I told you earlier, there's no fees. Just that little pop-up down at the bottom where it says no fee per server per application. We're able to do agentless backups of your virtual machines on VMware, right? We can also, go your own. You can also install an agent in there, that's fine. But it's the idea that all of the software is included to protect all your Windows machines. So you notice, from Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Server 2003, 2008, R2, 2012, as well as all your applications, SQL, Exchange. And once again, I don't want you guys to miss this at all. We're not just leveraging VSS to get some crash consistent copy of your data. We're actually leveraging the native API to deliver a transaction consistent copy of the data, which is huge. And then the last piece from here is the fact that we have the ability to protect your network attached storage. So whether it's on a little embedded Windows, whether it's on a Windows storage server, some sort of a network attached storage appliance, or whether it's running some sort of embedded Linux, like a Buffalo Chair Station, or whatever the case may be, we're able to back up that content. So that's another thing that's a differentiator, right? If you look out at the state, there's some folks that do a really good job backing up those virtual machines. Some folks do a really good job of backing up, Windows machines. Some guys do a pretty good job backing up across the board. But it's very, very, very short list of folks that can back up your network attached storage, do a good job backing up your Windows machines, as well as be able to back up those physical and virtual machines. Once again, like I was telling you a minute ago, there's no fees, right? So whether it's on Hyper-V or VMware, there's no per server application fees, right? It's all included. We'll actually directly connect. We leverage we can leverage your vSphere, your vServer, plug to a vServer or vCenter machine, and back up all the virtual machines underneath there. And it's the idea the other cool thing is even without having to have an agent on that machine, we're still able to get granular access to the file system to folders. So from an agentless backup of a VMDK, you can actually go in and you can pull out files and folders. We call it VMDK browsing. I think it's the term that we use for it. But it's the idea that without having an agent installed, you have that granular access. The other thing that we do is we call it live boot. So this is really, really cool. So you got your VMDK, it's been backed up, it resides, deduped and stored on the local appliance. Well, if something happens to your, let's say you've got it running off of a fan or something like that, something happens to your fan, what we can do is we can actually live boot that VMDK directly from the Barracuda backup server. You just have to point to a known good host, and you can actually spin it up for you right off of the backup server. Literally, I did this demo not at the last VMware, we had other things to talk about there, but the year before, I did this demo like 20 times a day, literally in under 2 minutes. And you could actually hit a stopwatch. And under 2 minutes, you hit the stopwatch when I hit the live boot button, and I could actually show you, I could hit F5 on the web browser and show you a page being refreshed, resurrected off of the Barracuda backup server. Very, very cool. So, it goes a long way towards a couple things. One, testing integrity of your backup, and two, for disaster recovery. And this just shows you a little bit about live boot and kind of how that works. I talked about live boot in the cloud. If you're in the U.S., that's available. I'm not sure exactly when we'll have that available for Canada, but just know that if you do have locations in the U.S., that will be available to you. Let's talk about the replication. How we can go from box to box. We can go multiple boxes to a single box, and then of course we can fork it. It can go to the cloud, or we can actually have it go from the box to the cloud, or from a box to have it fork, go to another backup server as well as to the cloud as well. So many different options. It's important that you understand that one, it's 25 cents per gig, right? And that's if you purchase the 200 gig chunks. So this is a per monthly deal. You purchase multiple months, and then you get a little bit of a break. But there's also an unlimited cloud storage model, and that gets priced down to around 10 cents a gig. So it's definitely very, very compelling prices. Something that we're looking to roll out. This isn't out yet, but I do want you guys to know that this is something that is coming. So this is what we're calling extended cloud retention. A lot of folks, they say, well, what's the deal? Why do you call it unlimited? 490, 690. They all have a finite amount of space. But why is it that you go ahead and you call it unlimited? Well, this is one of the reasons here is the fact that the world we're kind of going is we're going in this direction with extended cloud retention. So what we do is we allow you to keep 6 months worth of monthlies and 7 years worth of yearlies just in the cloud. No longer on take that straight on the local backup appliance, but just in the cloud. Right? So we allow you to basically supersede the capacity of the box in the cloud by whatever the size is of those 6 monthlies and 7 yearlies. So really, really pretty cool, especially when you're talking about then you're talking about, wanting to actually, look into, extended retention periods beyond what you would be able to house on the local appliance. So this is the centralized management, and probably the most important part of it is you see over in the left-hand side, you see the corporate headquarters, the development center, the remote sales office. So corporate headquarters, so that's in Campbell, California. That development center, that's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's getting closer to you guys. And the remote sales office, that's in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And so those are three geographically disparate locations, and I can administer them all right from here, right from this one single user interface. And you see that there's like the little green lights here. This was live, and I would definitely recommend all of you guys go to demo.barracuda.com. Don't go there now, please, but go to demo.barracuda.com, click on the back of demo, and you can actually take a look at this for yourself. You can mouse over these little lights here, and they'll give you feedback there, and they'll answer the same, I think, 4 or 5 questions every time. Hey, the source is online, the master is online, all data is going to replicate off within 24 hours. It's really important. So we kind of transition. So this is copy. So this is actually file sync and share. I would recommend all of you guys go to copy.com. Take a look at this as well. One of the cool things as far as integration is being able to actually restore content that was backed up from the Barracuda backup server actually to copy, which is very cool. But just to kind of recap, basically, storage is growing, right? The size of data is bigger than it was yesterday. Folks are moving to this as far as storage, no longer backup to tape. They're starting to feed it. Backup to disk is very viable. Tape just turned 60 years old. So that's probably 61 now. But anyway, like Remington Rand, with their tape drives and whatnot, 60 years ago, that was our primary storage. However, we've moved on. We've moved on from, rotating disks to solid-state disks, and now there's all kinds of new technology. Three-dimensional storage, holographic storage. It's mind-boggling what's out there, but it's the idea that, while tape used to be our primary storage, while tape used to be our day-to-day backup, that's not the case anymore. There's still a pretty good argument maybe for archiving or whatever, but nearline storage, things of that nature, but really, spinning disk really is where it's at. Talking about retention, efficiency, recovery time, 24/7 availability. So this is making your data available to you either through this hosted user interface, making this data available to you through copy, being able to back up virtual machines, and of course, all in one, addressing the cloud. Going from backing up the physical machine to storing a copy locally, because that's really important. You don't want to restream data. You don't want to have to recall tapes from some vault somewhere. And then, of course, being able to push it directly to the cloud, not having to load it up on a truck and have it whisked away. Some of the key advantages with Barracuda is one, free 30-day evaluation on every one of our products. Right? We have excellent customer support. There are no phone trees. It's all done in the U.S. Right? Hardware refresh after 4 years. So what does that look like? Just for the Barracuda backup service, we were to go back in time, back to 2009. Our biggest appliance was an 890. It was a 6-terabyte appliance. Well, if we fast forward to today, not only is our biggest appliance actually a 1090, we actually just up the size of the drive now. A 1090 is 102 terabytes. But you notice that an 890 is 16 terabytes. So if you carry IR in that box, when we go to refresh that box for you, guess what? That box that you bought, it was 6 terabytes, and you carry IR for 4 years. Now it's being refreshed with a 16 terabyte box. So, wonderful ability to grow as your company grows, right? So as we talk about the archiver, there's 3 things that drive the archiver. It's compliance, mitigation, as well as storage management, and then of course user access. I don't know about you guys, but I travel quite a bit. I'm on my iPhone here, and if I look back at my emails on my phone, they only go back to Monday, right? That's as far back as I can go. So here I am, I'm on the road. I need access. So what I do is I leverage we have an archiver app. for the iPhone. So what I do, anytime I get any information, if it's great, I can read it. Right? I used to be that guy that treated Exchange like a filing cabinet. I had file everything away. I had like hundreds of folders underneath my inbox. It was crazy. But now when I get stuff, I read it, I respond to it, I read it, I create a calendar event, or I read it and I delete it. Because it's easier for me to find it in the archiver than it is for me to actually find it through Outlook. So this kind of shows you a little bit about our archival. For storage management, we do stubbing, we do deduplication as well as compression. And if you're out there and you're saying, oh man, you know what? I've already gone down the road of PSTs, it's too late for me. Hey, you got a PST crawler. It'll find all the PSTs, it'll break them open. You can have it in audit mode where it'll tell you what you've got in the way of PSTs out there, or it'll actually index them just as though it were live mail. The other piece is for compliance and for litigation, right? So could you imagine if you actually were in the midst of a lawsuit or some sort of legal action where you were actually being required to recall email, and now you got to load tapes, you got to restore, you got to go back to the Exchange or the search it. It's terrible. It's really terrible. And so with the fact that with our message archiver, not only do we have integration into Outlook, right? We got a little plugin that goes right there in the ribbon bar in Outlook, so that way you can search directly from Outlook itself. But we also have mobile clients, so we have Android, we have iOS. It's a great way to go. But I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. 86% of storage is an email attachment. So if we can actually stub those guys, pull them off of the mail server itself, now you're going to save yourself 86% right there. And that's another thing. There's actually like a little ROI tool. If you guys were to, call Pat up and say, hey, you know what, I want an email of this archiver, we'll ship that archiver out to you. And there's a little ROI calculator where you can feed some information into it, and it'll look at some information, and it'll actually tell you what you can look to save, over the coming years, as far as for not having to refresh your Exchange server, not having to get more storage. And it's just, not to mention all the headache, whether, the headache of swapping out tapes or headache or, trying to keep an Exchange server running. We all know anybody that's administered Exchange running, it's just a little jet database waiting to call notes away. So anyway, some of the advantages, obviously, PST files, yes, you're reducing the load on the server. There's no arguing with that, right? You're able to free up disk space. However, there's no single instance storage there. As a matter of fact, if I create a PST and Scott creates a PST, well, now we just duplicate all the emails that we send to each other. It's crazy, right? You do that throughout a corporation. It's just, it's unreal, right? The inability to search copies are inconsistent as far as backups are considered. And then compliance, you can alter a PST, so they don't have the app for compliance. And then probably the worst part about PSTs is the fact that they're not available when you need them. Right, so kind of going back to storage optimization, so we can do this through stubbing, we can do this through message compression, we do single instance storage, plus we can also eliminate all of your PSTs. Let's say we have a collector, we also have the ability to, you can just point to the archiver, and you can kind of drop them right on the archiver, and it'll index them. Once again, index them initially or live man. These are some of the different verticals and some of the drivers in each of the various verticals. And if you're in one of these verticals, you know much more about these things than I do, right? If you're in healthcare, and whatnot. So I'm going to speak to these. Here's some of the drivers. As far as for the litigation and compliance features, one of the things I do want to talk about here is the role-based access. So it's really cool. You can turn over auditor access to an auditor. They can go through, they can search, they can find whatever they want to find, but yet they can't change anything. So that's huge. The other piece is string-based searching. So like I was saying, if I've got one of these and Sean Scanlon has, Derek has one, when I log in, I can search for my email, and Sean logs in, Sean can't search for my email, he can search for Sean's email, right? So it's very cool in the fact that with the AD Dalgraph integration, I just log in with my Dalgraph username and password, and I'm good to go. I can search. And I don't have to be a database administrator in order to craft a query here. I can just search for all email to Sean from Chad regarding, Zycom or whatever, and both, everything will come up. It's very, very cool. There's also policy-driven alerts and retention, right? So not only can I go back and set things on legal hold and have it retained forever, regardless of the retention policy, but I can also have alerts. Maybe if we have some, project Longhorn, some super secret project that Barracuda's working on, and that's what code name for it is Longhorn, right? It can, if anybody tries to send email out talking about Longhorn, I can have an alert that pops up and says, oh, hey, Sean's sending out emails to talk about Longhorn, or he's sending out credit card numbers, or Social Security numbers. So there's all kinds of things that you can throw in there as far as policy-wise where we can actually alert you. Now, keep them on the standard virus firewall. It can stop those items from going out. But at least the message archiver, if you have that, it can tell you, hey, this is happening. So I've talked to you guys about mobile access. So not only do we have the ability to integrate in with Outlook, we also have the ability to take your archived mail and make that available for you in Outlook, right? So keeping that archived mail available to those road warriors, those people that are out in a disconnected state, and still need to have access to that content and make that available to them through Outlook, as well as being able to search on mobile devices. So real quick, just so you kind of get an idea of how this fits in, it's in parallel with your mail server. So that means a lot of great things, right? So one, the fact that it's in parallel, it's never going to impede the flow of mail into or out of your organization. But also, if you look at this, notice that the mobile app, the Outlook add-in, the web interface, all of that goes to the message archiver. So those are queries that are no longer happening on your mail server. So once again, allowing your mail server to do what? To send mail, which is what it's designed to do, right? So the real takeaway here is not only are we able to reduce the load on your storage server as far as for data being stored, but we're able to reduce the load as far as for people handing away the data at the mail server, asking it to do things that the mail server doesn't do, which is send mail, right? And that's another thing I want you guys to be real clear on. The fact that we don't have to enable journaling on the mail server and really hand your mail server to get the mail out of it. We're able to set it up in a really neat configuration in a way that we just receive a copy of the mail. So it's like adding an additional recipient, right? So if you send an email to Dick, Jane, and Scott, how much harder is it to send the same email to Dick, Jane, Scott, and Dave, okay? Not a big task, right? So anyway, that's the archiver. So thank you guys very much. And I'm going to turn it over to Scott, or Scott will introduce something about it.
Thanks very much, Scott. That was great. Our last speaker before we move into the question and answer period is Tom Lockhart, the IT Systems Manager for Hastings and Prince Edward County's Health Unit. And Tom, I was hoping you could briefly introduce yourself and your organization, and then tell us about your...
First of all, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, you can. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, I was hoping just a quick introduction of yourself and your organization, and...
I want to make sure you can hear me fine, though, right?
Yep, I can hear you. Okay. And then tell us about your experience with Barracuda Backup and Message Archiver, if you will.
Sure. So first of all, thanks for letting me speak today. Yeah, Tom Lockhart, IT Systems Manager, Prince Edward County Health Unit, and what we are is we're a public health agency. We're located roughly between Toronto and Ottawa. Our head office is in Belleville. We have 6 offices, 2 in our catchment area, which is Hastings and Bay County. So 2 offices actually in Belleville, Ontario, 1 in Quinte West and Trenton, 1 in Kingston, 1 in Bancroft, and 1 in Maybach. And what we do is we provide mandatory programs and services mandated by the province of Ontario in our catchment area. So we have 175,000 residents in our catchment area, and some of the services we provide are restaurant inspections, well water inspections, flu vaccination clinics. We make sure when moms come out of the hospital that once they get into homes that their babies are okay, and that mom and baby are getting along well. We do the breastfeeding clinics, all kinds of things like that. So a variety of public health services that are mandated by the province of Ontario. So as far as our infrastructure goes, like a lot of organizations that go heterogeneous, so we have a mix of Windows and Linux servers. About 80% are virtualized, and so about 20% of our servers are still physical. So we've been a long time going to the customer. I think it's safe to say that it's not which Barracuda product we own. I think it's safe to ask, for me to answer which Barracuda products that we don't own. So we own almost every Barracuda product. They're a very happy customer, and at the end of my talk, I'll give a couple of main reasons why when there's a solution that I need to fulfill. A lot of times I will look to go through the first as a potential solution to our problem that I have. But today I'm going to talk about the Barracuda backup appliance and product and the message archiver. So before we put in the Barracuda backup server, our old solution, we were already backing up to disk. So we had software from one vendor, and then we had a disk-based appliance and emulated model loader from another vendor. So backup Windows and stuff, we were already backing up to disk weren't an issue for us. But some of the issues that I was encountering, or some of the problems that I were attempting to resolve were our old solution, once again, because the software layer and the hardware appliance was from two different vendors, if there were ever problems. And it inevitably, sort of started the finger pointing over one vendor was saying, well, it's the software, and then the storage guy would say, it's the software. So we kind of wanted to get into that. And anytime I was adding servers, I was going to think for licensing for the server itself, or if there was an SQL server and I wanted to back up the server while it was live, I was paying for an agent license for that. If I wanted to back up files when they were open, I was paying for another agent license for that. So, and I had a lot of expense and complexity into what should really be a fairly simple solution backing up your data. So for Barracuda, it was really easy for me to buy. For all the storage, all the backup technology, all the software layer, the agent and so forth, and the licensing was just one SKU. It made it really simple to buy. I just needed to know essentially how much storage I wanted on the appliance, and roughly how many servers I was going to back up. From one vendor, so there was only one broken choice, which was nice for me. Very easy to install and implement, like all Barracuda products are. It's very simple for a generalist like myself to get into quickly. Works well with both virtual and physical servers. Some of the other solutions I was working on, if you have physical servers for people around, it's problematic. So works very well with both physical and virtual servers. And the solution is actually very flexible. So I mean, if you want to make it really simple and just back up your data locally on the appliance and not ship it off to the cloud, so be it. I would recommend do that, then you can. If you do to the cloud, if you don't have an alternate site, you want to ship off your data, you can. Your data is stored in Canada, so for anybody that's got some regulatory requirements, you want to Patriot Act or whatever, if your data is stored in Canada, so that's good there. Or if you didn't want to use the cloud, you could use Barracuda appliances if you have some locations that was under your authorization and sort of do site-to-site replication across two Barracuda appliances that way. They're very flexible with their deployment options. And there were new features always coming with formal updates. For example, the live reading of the cloud that will be standard, I would assume so. And what you saw today is some snapshots of where the product is now. When we first put it in production, it was good then, it's great now. So I mean, these guys always are putting engineering resources and FTEs and manpower is actually improving the product and looking at the So it's very important. And the most important part about the backup solution, all the pretty graphs and all the nice pictures and all that are great, but when you need it, they better work. So quick and reliable storage for us were very important for any organization. So this is the most important part to take home from the backup solution. It has worked every time without issue anytime I've had to restore. When I need it. So I've had to restore individual files, entire folders, or entire SQL database. And it's worked every time without issue for me. So that's the most important thing. So that's the backup stuff. That covers that. As far as the message archiver goes, we're healthcare, so not only do we have regulatory compliance because of our vertical being healthcare, but we also have a permanent compliance as well. We're required to store archive positions for, in our case, for some programs, it's for 7 years, and others, it's 10, but long story short is we're required to archive store, we're archive routines now. So there was that problem I needed to solve. I was also having an issue. We didn't have a great solution for self-service, restore or recovery of individual emails. If somebody went through away from emails, we could restore, the items for staff, but IT would have to get involved, and it's not a great process for us or for staff. And we were also dealing with code increases a little more than we wanted to. Whether anybody admits it or not, email is actually not just email. We tend to use the server repository to store data, other people stick their documents, we stick all kinds of stuff in there. And when they start sticking all kinds of stuff in there, of course, storage becomes an issue. So code increases for us were a little bit of a problem. So to go through the solution, there's one again across all their products. There's one for user, for mailbox license, and the other thing for border for user. You have one SKU, you basically need to know how much mail you're backing up. Essentially what your load will be. And one SKU, once again, makes it simple to buy. And it was really easy to install because we were running, if I recall, it's been a while since I put it in, but I think it took me longer to rack the appliance, but I think I believe within half an hour of actually recording up the appliance, I was taking over my house. So real simple to set up. And once again, there's a simple web interface that makes it easy for staff to do self-service recovery. So we went to the web UI, or we have a client installed on the desktop, typical desktop, so the staff can get access to that they pull the web UI and get it back to the product. And we also have the iOS Android client support on some of our mobile support. So it doesn't really matter what your endpoint is, they've got a client that will allow staff actually to recover something that happens. So the deduplication, we've reduced storage requirements on their clients by roughly 40%. So once the email is actually stored on your clients, it pushes it down a bit. So that's always a nice feature. And once again, it lessens the burden on our production mail stores because we're not having constantly to do code entries and have mail being stored constantly on that high quality fiber stores that a lot of us have deployed for mail services. So you can get it off the high quality stores onto maybe a lower quality store, but still there's staff who's able to access that better as well. And email code increases from staff is reduced by about 70% from the appliance. It's really not in use anymore, so for the most part it's for code increases. But they don't really have to be all that discretionary about what they delete it. When they know that they do delete it and they want it back, they can always push it out to the fiber optic. And also it integrates well with the backup appliance. So the storage on the archiver is usually presented as a target for the backup appliance. So not only is your mail being archived or returned, but you can also back it up and shut it off to the cloud. So those were some of the reasons that we chose to use archiver. But what I'll summarize with is, this is not only across each particular product I'm doing it's across all their product line, and this is a couple of things I'm glad we're a very loyal therapeutic customer. Their support is great. We don't have many issues with their products, but anytime I need help, you talk to somebody right away, you're not talking to a robot on the phone and saying, speaking into the, Facebook robot. You talk to a person, you get transferred into a queue, and the queue gets picked up by a technical agent who can help you right away, and then we'll work with you until you're satisfied. So there's that, and plus every product that I implemented for therapeutic, once again, one SKU, one to 6 weeks of product per year, simple to buy, simple to maintain, and they listen to their customers and they put engineering resources into improving the product. Because there's some other products that I have right now, I'm not going to name any names, but you're paying 20% of the end cost of it every year, and you're wondering what you're getting, or you just never see any improvement in the product. I certainly cannot say that about the product. So always improving the product, listening to the customers, and seeing the best product for it. So with that, I'm done.
Hey, Tom, thanks very much. That was great. We are now going to move into the question and answer period. It's funny, a couple of questions had come in that, Tom, you answered pretty well. First question was, if I do back up my data in the cloud, is it going to be stored in the U.S.? And I just want to kind of reiterate, as Tom mentioned, it's going to be stored, actually, and Chad did also, it's going to be stored in Canada. And Montreal, I believe, is the data center. The second question just came in. What kind of dedupe are you seeing in reality, Tom?
Oh, sure. On the archival, it's about 40%. And then on the backup, it's just over 50%.
Sure. And the last question, I guess I'll ask Chad. It's again on the archiver. What if I already have several years worth of PSTs?
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great question. So one of the nice things is that the archiver can actually access those PSTs in one of three ways. One, it can go in and if you can get all of your PSTs to a share, you can point the archiver to a share, and it'll grab those PSTs, or break them open, and it'll index them. The same is also true. The archiver can actually present itself as a share, and you can just dump the data right there directly on the archiver, think of it like a mail slot, if you will. You can just pop your PSTs in there, and it'll get run through the machine to be broken open and indexed and deduped and compressed and whatnot. The third way is that we actually now have a PST caller you can turn this on your network. And this is really cool. Let's say that you think you could benefit from an archiver, but you're maybe not sure. You're not sure how you want to sell it to the powers that be, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe you are the powers that be and you're just not sure that the value is there. So one of the cool things you can do is during the free 30-day evaluation, bring the archiver out there. When you turn this PST caller loose on your network, it's not going to do anything. All it does is it just goes through in like an audit mode, and it just tallies up the actual size that you have in PST. So that way you can kind of, get a better idea of the real value that this archive is going to bring into your environment. So I hope that answers questions. If there's any more, I'd be happy to take them.
Just one I'm going to read right now. For the mail archiver, is it dependent on Outlook Exchange? Also, what is the total cost, initial investment, and yearly costs for all the solutions mentioned on this WebEx? So I'm going to field the latter part of that question offline. If you want to, Chad, maybe field the first part. Is it dependent on Outlook Exchange?
Yeah, no, actually it's not. I mean, obviously, we see the Exchange and Outlook are very popular, very prominent in the market space. However, as long as you have as long as you have a standard, some sort of standard email server, right? And so there's very few exceptions. There are a few, first class, and there's a couple of email servers out there that we don't work with. However, for the most part, if it's a modern mail server, we're going to work just fine with it. Now, of course, obviously, if you're not running Outlook, then the Outlook integration components won't be there. However, you will still have access to it through mobile apps and whatnot. So I would definitely recommend if you are running, something other than Exchange or GroupWise or Domino or whatever you're running. If you're running something other than some of the really popular ones, just give us a call and we'll be able to tell you what the experience is going to be like. And then once again, this is where the 30-day eval really works well, is to actually get it in your environment and see how well it's going to work for you, where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, so I'm going to move on right now. I'll do my best to take the rest of these questions offline, and between Chad and Sean Scanlon, the Canadian program manager, we'll get the answers for all of these questions. I'd like to thank everybody for giving me a lot of questions. That's great. Shows you guys still have a pulse out there. And if you have any immediate questions, don't be afraid to contact me. My information is right here, and I have written down all the other ones, and I will get back to you before the end of the day. And that's going to do it for us, guys. we're going to wrap up, try and get be respectful of your time. So again, thank you for attending, and have a great day.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.